Welcome back to season 4 of the Wealthy Web Designer podcast. You guys, so excited to be here back with you guys, and today talking about something super, super exciting. All of the ways that we've made money in the world of web design.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Well, for a couple of things. I'm excited for the podcast to come back because I feel like our podcast is honestly insane. Like how
it's like
much
the freest value that you could possibly find in the creative space.
It really is so cool. And so we're back and better than ever. And obviously season 3, we rebranded to be Wealthy Web Designer. And so we really honed in on like being a place for web designers and creatives coming to us, wanting to learn how to make money, which is really exciting because this is season 4. And this entire episode, we're talking about how to fucking make a shit ton of money as a web designer.
100%.
And we are going to really like dissect how we've made money and what we would recommend, how we could have maybe done more, all the ways that we recommend on how to make money. Because I think, obviously web design is so cool as a career and it can bring so much fulfillment. You can love what you do and there's that, but also it's life and like shit costs money and there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money.
Believe that.
We are redefining what it means to be a creative because I feel like even what I think of, I'll meet so many people that are like more artists and they've gone to like design school and they're a graphic designer. And I feel like they've been ingrained in their mind almost that they aren't worthy of making money, that like they aren't like mutually exclusive in some weird fucking way. So yeah, we're redefining that. And so if you are a creative and you want to become a web designer and you want to make a shit ton of money, listen to this episode.
All right, well, let's dive into it. We've got a lot of different ways of making money, ranging from things like templates, day rates, custom offers, like combination offers of adding things together, and even a little bit of like random mix and matching of even selling web design mixed with coaching of mine and things like that and everything in between.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking, let's like walk people through the journey because if they're new here, I want them to understand like how we started
100%.
and kind of where we even began. So let's bring it back. 2018, I quit my job and I started learning about web design because I was a virtual assistant and people were just paying me my like hourly rate to basically fix their shitty WordPress websites.
what was your hourly rate?
Oh my God.
What did it start at and what did it end at?
I mean, I think it averaged out to be like $20 an hour, but for web design, it ended up being so much more because I was on retainers. So it like averaged out, but then I wasn't in a position where I felt like I could even then charge more for my hourly. It was like I was set at 20 hours a week, but then web design, especially because I was learning it, but I was kind of like faking it till I make it. I didn't want them to know that I was having to spend 5 times longer in WordPress learning.
Yes.
So there were some weeks where I'd make like $5 an hour.
Yeah.
But that is in history. So I started learning how to design in WordPress and I loved it, but it really wasn't where I wanted to be. And I just felt like there was no way that I could actually make really good money. I think that, WordPress is super competitive. Like
it's the biggest of the big.
Totally. And even if you're in our space and you think, oh, there are so many Showit designers, I bet you there's 5 or 10 times more WordPress designers
100%.
because it's such a big niche. It's been around for so long. It's so established. And there's also so many people in there that are developers and they are doing this and they're doing that. And it's just really fucking competitive where even if you think that like there's so many Showit designers, it's
there are
literally
probably more Elementor designers than Showit designers.
Exactly. And at that time, most people that had their websites on WordPress, they had like worked with some fucking dude that was 22 years old that didn't give a shit about their business, but that charged like $700 to code their entire site.
And after that, they were stuck high and dry because they weren't able to update anything. Like photos, no items, products being updated. And I feel like that was like the craziest realization. I feel like when you found Showit was actually the being able to deliver a website, and theoretically, like at that point was when maybe you realized that you could deliver a website and be done with the client.
No, absolutely. But bringing it back to what I was getting at was that if, there were so many people charging like $200, $500, $700 for a shitty website, but that also meant that they were basically like diluting the entire pool of web design, and they set the standard of like what it should cost. And it's so funny because even still on TikTok, I'll make a video and be like, I charged $9,000 for this website on Showit. And people are like, bet I could do that for $300. And I'm like, fuck you, because you're literally setting this shitty standard for other designers. And then that is why people feel like they can't charge a lot, but really you're undercharging and you're also delivering a shit website.
Yeah.
When have you seen a website delivered for $300 that actually looks good and converts?
Honestly.
Never. And so I knew that I couldn't build my like web design wealth on WordPress. I just knew that like very early on. And so 2019, I set out to like discover this new platform. It almost is like eat, pray, love vibe, right? Like we were like living in Hawaii. It was the worst time of our entire lives. We had so much money on credit card debt. We made nothing. It was like such a fucking struggle. But I, for some weird reason, was like living in this like fantasy that I could do it. For some reason, I didn't have any of like the qualifications that would technically make me believe that I could do it, but I just thought that I could do it. So when I found Showit, that was the first time that I was like, I feel like I could actually make real money doing this. And that was like the most pivotal like time in our lives. Because don't you remember even when I found Showit?
100%.
Like, I'm so curious from your perspective, what was it like? Like, do you remember at all me first discovering it?
So I do. I remember it actually funny because you were also sick at the time with like breathing issues because of like going up the volcano too quickly in Hawaii. And so there was a time where we were living in a little apartment. Becca was like sick with these random breathing issues where essentially you just couldn't do anything.
Okay, and just to fill you guys in, I do have asthma. So
and for this like couple week period, Becca is just on the couch / bed, just designing and like leaving. I think you probably had a site that you were working on for a client in WordPress. And it was like, okay, let me finish this client. And then also Becca or babe, I found this thing. It's called Showit. And then I was like, wait, okay, explain to me how it's better than Elementor, I think was maybe the theme that you were using at the time. And honestly, at the time, it blew my mind because previously to that, it didn't feel like you could, as the designer, design a website, deliver it to a client and not form some sort of either paid or unpaid retainer. And commonly, I felt like I was seeing a lot of unpaid retainers where clients would feel like they had the like entitlement or just like the rights to reach out constantly when after the site has been delivered to update things. Hey, and the worst thing is that they reach out and they're like, hey, I tried to do it myself, but I actually like completely broke it. And now it's like fucked.
Which is so common. I've even had so many clients come to me and be like, all right, I'm fucking done. I'm getting on Showit. My entire site's broken because I tried to like change one piece of text. And it really is so true. And I did a couple of retainers and I was like, this is ass because first of all, a lot of the time they don't even end up using you for that retainer. And then there's like this weird animosity because they're like, I didn't even use you. Can I get a refund? Like that happened. And then also if you don't have them on retainer, but let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to charge $50 or $75 an hour for ongoing work. Then they will act bitchy because they're like, well, I just paid you $2,000 for a website. I don't just get this for free. I feel like they feel this like all-inclusive vibe that you get, forever ending changes, which you just don't. And that was a huge headache. And so that was a huge piece of Showit because even when I was learning, I was like, this is like the nicest way possible, but like Showit is literally like a designer platform for dummies. Like that is how it felt and feels. And it's so amazing because it's so powerful because it's so easy. Like just because it's easy doesn't mean that it's like less valuable or less qualified, but
I feel like
it gets to be easy.
I feel like at that time though, like I almost even had to like work through that thought. Of that
it like needs to be hard.
Yeah, because I feel like when you presented Showit to me, it was like, okay, babe, look how much easier it is. And like, I think that growing up, especially like in
Honestly.
these creative worlds, I felt like that complexity that WordPress had added to it. Like, I almost feel like it's really similar to when you don't feel 100% confident in something. A lot of the times we naturally overcomplicate things. Like, I remember back in the day when I was even trying to sell web design packages for you, and I would like be like hitting up all these businesses trying to get them onto a sales call. And then I'd get onto the sales call and not at the time really know what I was even selling or even know what the value of the website
And
was.
just like add more.
And I just overcomplicate it. It's bigger and bigger and bigger. And I felt like that was similar with WordPress. So when you showed me Showit, it was like, clients like are down for that. And I had to like work through this idea that the client wants a website that does, you know, X, Y, and Z. There's really not actually many things that they're looking for outside of like the aesthetic visually and the functionality of typically conversions to a couple of products and a couple of programs.
100%. And you honestly just brought up a huge idea. Like, this is something that I think maybe you even had to overcome a little bit more, but it's that when you're selling something, whether it's on your website, whether you've decided to do discovery calls, like no matter what, if you're selling a service, to strip it down to only tell them what actually makes them excited. Because I feel like even when you're just starting out, you do overcomplicate things, and you you try and over deliver, and like it just overcompensates. And I just don't think it's needed. And a lot of the time, if you look at like an offer, they don't give a fuck. So change it. Like, even if it's on your sales page and you're like, you know, you get like a policy page and a terms of use, and I'll do this, and it's like the technical stuff that they don't care about, that doesn't actually do anything for them. Yes, they might need it, and maybe there's a time and place where they could, you know, clarify that they get it, but like, don't sell that. That's not a sellable thing.
Honestly, it was like one of the biggest things that I've taught a lot of clients of mine this is that like those things might be important to you as the designer.
Yeah.
Like, even especially if you were to be talking to other designers, it's like, how
like,
many pages did you do? All these things. Or to the
Totally.
client, they are thinking about what they want, and they are completely different things. And as a salesperson selling any
100%.
sort of service, you really need to align yourself with actually what are the things out of whatever service we're offering that the client is actually looking for.
Yeah, I feel like there's this weird thing. What's coming to my mind is that you almost want to gatekeep the technical shit. Like, don't bring it up.
Honestly.
Don't tell them, because what you're going to do, and I feel like what it is as a service provider, you feel like the more you tell them that you're going to do, the more validated you are to charge
Exactly.
that. But what you actually do is you overwhelm the person, and then they're going to start trying to understand or justify how they could not do that, because now it sounds like a fucking lot, even if you are going to do it for them. So try and make everything as simple as possible. Don't overcompensate, and just tell them what excites them, and leave everything out of it, and allow them to clarify if they decide that they care about something that you do behind the scenes.
Totally. And so at the beginning, Becca, you were all custom design.
Yes.
And then we went on to Showit, and you know, kind of came up with the idea of templates. And at that time, I remember you were in this era of being able to scale what it costs to do a website with Becca Luna from $1,200 to $24 to $32 to $36 to $38 to $42. And then at that point, I felt like I was able to start to see some people reach out and not be able to afford it.
Yeah,
and that
totally.
was when templates, like, literally mind fucking blown, when we were like, okay, all these people that can't afford $4,200 for a website can afford $497 for a template. And oh my God, is it easy to downsell someone to a tenth of what you were just selling them on.
100%. Totally. And I mean, I think back to when we first even found out about passive income. We've obviously talked a lot about this, but I just remember thinking, okay, I'm charging, I think by the time I was like ready to do passive income, I was like at $2,200 to $2,400 for custom sites.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, that feels so long ago. But I remember thinking, okay, I am charging $2,400 for this website, and it takes me a month to work on. Obviously, I'm not working like 40-hour weeks for that month, but like I'm putting in time.
Yeah.
And what I could do is make my life easier, make money passively, and save them money, and ultimately make their life easier too. I could charge $500 for this. Like, I just spent a month designing this epic website and it's only going to go to one person. Why would I do that? Like, why? Why not duplicate that and literally allow 10 other service providers or coaches or consultants or whoever the fuck aligns with it to also utilize that same design? Because everyone's going to make it different. Like, once I started doing templates, it was crazy how different they all can look. And if you know, have templates yourself and you've played around, like, you know what I'm talking about. And so you can still keep this like individuality feel, but then that person just saved so much money, so much time. Like, I literally had people start putting up websites in 2 days, 3 days.
I remember somebody did a full kind of like, it was a light customization, but they did their whole template in 4 hours. And it was like, what?
I'm like,
and
no,
also,
you know what I hear when I'm like, you should become a web designer.
Honestly. But on the contrary, I also remember, like, this is like 7 months after having the template shop open. I remember starting to see like different people start to buy the templates. Like, I feel like at the beginning, it was kind of like this like specific avatar was who was buying all the templates. And then it like started to be found by other people. And I remember specifically, she was a coach of some sort and her name was Kate. And she did a template of yours.
Oh my God. She
literally so crazy.
You know what I would tell her now?
She should have been a web designer. It was crazy. And I was like, how did you even start with our template? And how did you come up with this? That is so cool. And I felt really like creative. That was like the really cool part. And so I feel like as we're talking about how to make money, I feel like there's also this kind of like secondary piece of that when you are starting to think about, okay, how am I actually going to make money doing web design for myself? Thinking about, okay, is it the custom path? Because, you know, I'll be honest, when you close a custom client and it's somewhere between $2,000 and $8,000, that's like literally closing potentially like a month to 2 months of a 40-hour-a-week paycheck. So there's something really attractive about especially starting to think about, I could actually close more than one client in that month, and we could start stacking money up like that. And then there's also the new piece of templates that we're bringing up. Templates are going to be like more like $200 to $1,000 each, ranging maybe $497 is like some sort of sweet spot. And there you kind of enter this whole new world of e-commerce, and it literally is a whole new world. And I will say that if you have experience in selling product, there are so many niches of website templates that have not even been, like, the surface has not even been touched.
100%. So many
To the point where I think in my head all the time, and if you're watching this and you're like, shit, I'm looking to start a template shop and I really am looking for a good idea and someone to partner with on this that has the most amazing idea, you should hit me up, because I have so many ideas for template shops that I realistically at this point can acknowledge that I'm not going to build myself, but holy shit, you could make a lot of money doing it.
Yeah, it really is so cool. I just think back to when we launched our template shop, it was like the craziest thing. I remember when I first launched August of 2019, I remember getting those first Shopify notifications.
Cha-ching.
Seriously, like, it's literally orgasmic. And the coolest thing about that is it just evolved. I feel like once I started getting that, I'm like, I'm never going back. Like, once you feel something, you're like, this is my new reality. Even if it changes and evolves, it's my new reality. I'm making money passively and while I sleep. Like, this is so cool. And it really did go down like that, because now I think even like, you know, it's that same like adrenaline feel. It's like when you book a client, you know, once I started doing day rates and I was booking them for $4K a day, and I would clock off at 5 and I was like, I just made $4,000 a day. Like, the amount of money that is, like, I think sometimes also once you start making money, you kind of forget how powerful it is, or like how much money 100%. You're making. You know what I mean? Where when I really think about it, like, just a few years ago, I couldn't even imagine like in 2018, early 2019, we were literally making $2,000 to $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
Collectively.
Working all the time.
Collectively. To make $4,000 in a day, it is like, what the actual hell is life? Like, this is incredible. And that's why I think I'm like so passionate about being like, dude, you can do this too. Like, it really is so possible, because then as soon as you start like seeing those passive income, like cha-chings come in, or you close a $9,000 thing and you get that invoice, it is life changing, because once you do it one time, you know
that you can do it again.
This is just the start.
Yep.
I'm going to do it again. And that is really like the coolest thing about being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, being in charge of what you really like ultimately do.
All
who
of
you
the
work
control.
with, how
it
many
just
people
becomes yours.
Totally. So it's like, okay, sick. I just made 5K. I'm going to live in like the gratitude, and then I'm going to do it again. And then I'm going to raise my prices, and then I'm going to do it at 7. Like, it is the coolest thing about how, you know, obviously I don't want to like fantasize it, because it requires work. It really does. Like, I've been really open about the work that it requires and how many late nights I've spent, you know, building my business, and especially in like that like learning phase. But if you put in the work, it actually gets to be easy. Like, I know that those like don't go together, but that is like our whole thing that we even have had to learn becoming entrepreneurs and like starting to make the money that we do, is learning that like making money can be easy. Making money, you can do something that you love. You can wake up and be excited about the work that you do, and excited about the money that is coming in, be excited about the clients that you're working with. If you just want to make passive income, I fucking believe in you that you can just make passive income if you want.
1000%.
Like, there is so much opportunity out there for you to make money. And so obviously we've talked a lot about the ways that we've made money, you know, from templates, from custom, from day rates, and all the things, but really sky's the limit. And so I'm really excited for just this whole season, because we're really doubling down on our creative baddies, our designers that are wanting to make cash, build a life that they fucking are obsessed with, have time freedom, no matter if you want to travel or you want to be home with your kids, no matter what it looks like. This season is going to be so good and be really like allow you to pave a way for yourself. So
I wish that you could drop your mic, but it like is you know, it's all
yeah,
around.
it's a little too hooked up. But with that,
You guys, we'll see you soon.
Bye.